to fathers that I want to share with the audience and get you to explain a bit. You say, challenge your daughter's thinking and question her behavior always. Why?
The reason I say that is because on a daily basis, every girl, I believe, is under siege. Again, it's the message that they're hearing. The average American kid is in front of some form of electronic gadgetry 6 hours a day. And sometimes that's with an iPod and a computer. Whenever she's exposed to those things, she's engaged in them. They are talking to her. They are telling things to her in her mind. And she's responding to them and making judgments about her character and herself and her self-worth through those messages. That's why I say start with the mind first. You know, we can't just change a kid's behavior, but ask. For instance, we know that although anorexia and bulimia nervosa, which are rampant among college students, particularly very bright college girls across the country, much of that is rooted in thoughts that girls have formed about themselves through images that they see around them. And they think in their minds, I need to be thin, I'm stupid, I'm fat. If a dad can get in there and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about yourself? And challenge those thoughts, he can really train the daughter to recognize what I call toxic thinking, i.e., I need to be skinny, I need to be busty, I need to be X, Y, or Z. If a dad can interrupt those thoughts in her mind, challenge her to block them, her behavior and her feelings about herself will change. It's really kind of like a mini cognitive behavioral therapy that a dad can do with a daughter. Wow. And many dads are afraid to do it, but don't be. Girls love to talk what they think about if you're willing to listen.
And I love the idea that you say that girls truly look to the father for decisions, to make decisions, and you have to make yourself available to her at those times, and I guess initially insinuate yourself into those decision-making moments, yes?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, girls want to know what their fathers think and what they feel, particularly when it comes to them. What a girl doesn't want is for her dad to sit her down and just start to tell her what to do and to lecture with her. What a girl wants is to know what her dad really feels and really wants and really thinks about. But she also wants to be heard. And when that exchange happens, Dad can almost tell her to go jump off a bridge and she'll do it. But it won't happen if a dad just comes in and starts on his mantra and starts lecturing to her, oblivious to what she's thinking and feeling at the time. It just won't work.
I like that you mentioned there, though, that, you know, girls and women tend to focus first on the feelings, on the emotions, and that men really have to get insight into that and appreciate that. And part of our job, part of a father's job, is to teach a girl to distrust those feelings a little bit and bring rationality in, bring a little cold thinking in as well. That is part of the function, yes?
Absolutely, and that's one of the beauties about male and femaleness, if you will. You know, and I've seen this played out over and over in my office. A young girl will be tied up in knots with tremendously powerful feelings over some kind of problem that's emerged, and I can see Dad looking at her thinking, we have a problem, what's the solution? We do A, B, and C, and to help sort of tease those girls' feelings apart. But I think that's where we can really, that men can really kick into gear and say, hang on a minute, I know this feels emotionally overwhelming. I know you're overwhelmed, but there is a solution, and because I can compartmentalize my thinking pretty well, because I have a male brain, I can help you step out of yourself emotionally and figure out a solution to the problem. And that's the beauty of the dad-daughter paradigm working successfully for the daughter.
Now, men are usually doers rather than talkers. None of us are really good at talking, particularly about those big things we've been talking about this evening. What advice would you offer dads? What should they be talking about? What tone should they strike? What to omit? Many times men feel utterly inept, particularly as a girl gets older, interacting with her. I guess a lot of husbands have the same problem interacting with their wives. What advice would you give us?
Well, first of all, I think it's terrific that dads don't talk as much, because we women do plenty of talking for the both of us, and you know, girls get a little tired.
I'm glad you said it.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. We women and mothers need to learn to back off, take a lesson from the fathers, and just watch and listen. I think first and foremost, a dad, and I think their natural inclination is to be a better listener many times than the wife, because we're thinking many thoughts at one time and trying to express them all at one time. First and foremost, a dad needs to take the time to sit down, and I mean sit down, with his daughter across from him at a table, beside him in a car, on a car trip. Ask questions and be quiet. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's thinking about. Dads often wonder, what is my daughter up to? What does she think about? If you don't want to ask your daughter questions directly, ask what her friends are doing. Ask what her friends are going through. Are they liking school? Do they have a lot of boyfriends? And you'll have a great reflection and insight into what your daughter's world is all about. If you hear red flags, a lot of my friends are going out and they're drinking at midnight on the beach and they're having these parties, and gee whiz, Dad, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. You know that you need to hear her out, even though you want to jump in and say, stop it, you're not going out at midnight again. What is going on? What are her challenges? And how can you help her have friends but not engage in that kind of a behavior? So if you listen intently to the cues and the clues that your daughter is giving you, you're going to know exactly what to say, and time what you say very carefully, which is at the end of her dialogue. Don't interrupt her. Make eye contact with your daughter. You don't need to yell or raise your voice. Actually, the power is in being quiet, soft-spoken, and firm. And listen to her and let her know that the reason you're telling her things that she may not like is because you love her like mad. And that you are her #1 fan. And that's just the way it is, and that will make her feel very, very wonderful. One of the things that I would encourage dads to do is to really focus on developing a daughter's character, and not to fall into the talk that we do as parents surrounding her physical appearance. Don't talk about her weight. Don't talk about her thinness. Gee, you just lost 10 pounds. How wonderful you look. To a girl, that's a devastating message. That means I look good, so if I want my dad's attention, I better lose 5 more pounds, and then he'll really talk to me even more. Don't